Who will own Greenland? The melting mega-island up for grabs. Picture this. A sitting U.S. president strides onto a rally stage and declares, with his trademark bravado, that America should just go ahead and buy the world's largest island, Greenland. Social media explodes, European leaders scramble, and Kremlin spokespeople issue icy warnings. Yet, beneath the memes and late-night jokes lies a serious question. Why do the biggest players on Earth suddenly care so much about a mostly ice-covered territory of just 56,000 people? This is Nexus-Feed, and in this video we'll be diving under the ice sheet to find out. Donald Trump's renewed 2025 campaign pledge to make Greenland America's 51st state reignited a debate first sparked in 2019. This time, his rhetoric was sharper, openly floating tariffs or other measures if Denmark refused. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen replied, once again saying, "Greenland is not for sale," while Russian and EU officials warned of escalating Arctic tensions. Greenland's own Prime Minister at the time, Mute B. Ajadi, called the prospect an assault on Greenland's sovereignty, yet hinted that American investment, under Greenlandic terms, remains welcome. Where exactly is Greenland? Grab a globe and draw a giant white triangle between Canada, Iceland, and Norway. That's Greenland. Covering 2.1 million square kilometers, it's about 3 times the size of Texas, yet hosts fewer residents than a mid-sized American suburb. The capital, Nuuk, sits on the southwest coast, 6 hours by air from New York and 4 hours from London. That centrality isn't theoretical. During World War II, Allied weather stations in Greenland provided the Atlantic convoy fleet with life-saving forecasts. In the jet age, civilian airlines still plan Great Circle routes clipping Greenlandic airspace to shave kerosene and time. As the Arctic warms, that skyway is only getting busier, pressing Greenland to extend runways and build search and rescue hubs, projects that foreign investors are eager to fund. That geography makes Greenland a literal bridge between North America and Europe, and positions its skies astride the shortest polar flight routes connecting the superpowers, a strategic jackpot. Climate change is turning that bridge into an open door. Summer sea ice minimums are shrinking by roughly 13% per decade. The 2023 melt season clocked the 6th lowest extent on record. Computer models published in 2024 project that both the Northern Sea Route along Russia's coast and Canada's Northwest Passage could be reliably ice-free for at least 60 days each year before 2050. Why does that matter? Sailing Shanghai to Rotterdam via the Arctic knocks about 3,700 nautical miles off the Suez route, about 10 days at sea, and tens of thousands of dollars in fuel per voyage. For navies, the same straits shorten reinforcement times and rewrite traditional choke point strategy. Whoever can host deep water ports, search and rescue stations, and satellite links in Greenland gains the inside lane on a future global trade highway. Geography translates directly to defense. On a windswept plateau 1,200 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle sits Pituffik Space Base, formerly Thule Air Base. Built in the 1950s for nuclear-armed bombers, the site now houses an upgraded early warning radar that tracks ballistic missiles crossing the pole in their first seconds of flight. It also anchors polar orbit satellite links, giving U.S. Space Command constant coverage over Eurasia. In 2024, the Pentagon awarded a $323 million contract to modernize power and data at the base. In March 2025, officials confirmed Pituffik will serve as a hub for next-gen missile warning satellites. Commercial constellations already lease antenna time there, tying Greenland into the global data grid. Think of Pituffik as a high-latitude watchtower. Lose it and NORAD NATO. Even civilian GPS users go partly blind in the world's fastest warming strategic arena. And it's not just missiles. Polar orbits give Earth observation satellites near constant coverage. High-latitude ground stations downlink on every pass, so Greenland's hilltops now sprout phased array antennas and fiber huts, priceless real estate in the space economy. The Kremlin understands that watchtower. Since 2014, Russia has refurbished more than 30 Arctic bases, fielded MiG-31 interceptors on Franz Josef Land, and staged paratrooper drops at the North Pole. Its northern fleet now carries about two-thirds of Russia's sea-launched nuclear warheads, shielded by layered S-400 and Bastion systems. Beijing, for its part, brands itself a near-Arctic state. Chinese state-owned firms bid to build runways in Nuuk and mine rare earths at Kvanefjeld. In 2024, Washington and Copenhagen quietly urged Tanbreez Mining to reject a Chinese equity deal, fearing dual-use tech transfers. Add recent Russo-Chinese naval drills in the Barents Sea, and Pentagon planners see Greenland not as a curiosity, but as the keystone of Western homeland defense. Greenland isn't just a radar platform. It's also a treasure chest of critical minerals. Studies put the island's reserves at 11% of the world's uranium, 40% of known rare earth oxides, plus zinc, platinum, graphite, and molybdenum. At Kvanefjeld alone, geologists estimate enough neodymium to build 250 million EV motors. If engineers can overcome Arctic logistics, the payoff is huge. A single mid-sized rare earth mine employs about 800 workers and feeds supply chains for everything from F-35 fighters to offshore wind turbines. With demand for neodymium and praseodymium forecast to triple by 2035, Greenland's ore could underpin Europe's green transition while earning the island billions. Money for universities, broadband, and climate-proofed infrastructure. The catch? Extraction is hard. Winters bring 24-hour darkness, ports freeze, radioactive tailings threaten reindeer pastures. In 2021, Greenland's parliament even halted a uranium-bearing project, proving local governance, not superpower appetites, will shape the resource map. Enter Brussels. Alarmed by China's monopoly on rare earth processing, the European Union adopted its Critical Raw Materials Act in 2024, capping reliance on any single supplier at 65% by 2030. Greenland fits neatly into that equation. The Commission opened an office in Nuuk and launched a €225 million green growth program, pairing wind power with responsible mining. For the first time since the colonial whaling era, European diplomats, American generals, and Chinese bankers share hotel lobbies in Nuuk, each pitching a different Arctic future. While superpowers bargain, Greenlanders weigh opportunity against heritage. About 90% of citizens are Inuit, practicing seal hunting, dog sled racing, and storytelling that date back millennia. Climate change already disrupts those lifeways. Thinning ice forces hunters farther for fewer seals, while meltwater threatens UNESCO-listed fjords. Environmentalists point to Canadian mines where acid drainage turned lakes orange, warning Greenland could repeat the mistake. In short, Greenland's natural capital is cultural capital. Damage the herds, and you erode identity. Greenland gained self-rule in 2009, but still relies on an annual $640 million Danish grant, about one-third of its budget. Demographics add urgency. More than one-third of Greenlanders are under 30, dreaming of careers beyond fishing. Mineral royalties, satellite fees, and tourism dollars could fund vocational schools, renewable grids, and research institutes, foundations of a modern microstate. Skeptics note that commodity booms bust, potentially leaving an independent Greenland bankrupt and beholden to whichever power pays the rent. The result is a pragmatic path. Accept defense partnerships and private investment on Greenlandic terms, while building the revenue streams needed for eventual independence. So, will the Stars and Stripes ever fly over Nuuk's parliament? Almost certainly not. International law grants Denmark title, and Greenlanders possess self-determination rights that trump any check. Yet Trump's headline-grabbing bid highlights a deeper truth. The Arctic is no longer a frozen backwater. Shipping lanes are thawing, satellites need polar stations, energy transitions hinge on rare Earth magnets, and missiles still trace polar arcs. Whoever helps shape Greenland's industries and institutions will shape the 21st century Arctic balance of power. Expect Washington to double down on defense and science collaboration, Moscow to reinforce its northern fleet, Beijing to court mining joint ventures, and Brussels to dangle green finance. But the final word belongs to Greenlanders themselves, an emerging nation writing the next chapter of Arctic history on ice that's literally melting beneath their feet. That's it from us on this edition of Nexus-Feed. We go beyond the breaking news to uncover the bigger picture, exploring the political, economic, scientific, and technological forces shaping our world. If you learned something new, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel as we continue to watch this story unfold. Don't forget to leave your comments too. So, should Greenland be protected wilderness, the next energy frontier, or an independent country in waiting? Until our next one, stay critical, keep exploring, and remain safe.